Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we are playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one is a community card sent in by Afan, and he's playing as the High Elves, and he's against the Skaven. And I always love this matchup. It's so fun, just elves and rats, you know, just such order versus such disorder. It's a lot of fun. Here you can see Sun Dragon. I love the Sun Dragon against Skaven. I don't know why I don't bring it more often. I always bring a load of Phoenixes, but Sun Dragon, I love his breath attack. It is so good at killing hundreds of rats. And also, he's a big terrifying beastie with a load of armor piercing, and yeah, he can really clean house. He's great. Also, a ton of silver helms. You don't often see a ton of silver helms, so I like to see this. A lot of, I mean, they're not cheap cavalry by any means, but cheaper, I suppose. Usually just see some dragon princes, you know, or if you do go cheap, it's kind of Illyrian Reavers or whatever. But no, load of silver helms, so I like that. It's fun. Also, Alariel the Radiant. I mean, Alariel is it's just perfect in this matchup, frankly. I mean, Arcane Unforging is brilliant to avoid, you know, Skrulk using Lee Bubonicus and the like. Big healing from Alariel. Fast Protection is super useful, though it doesn't look like he brought Fast Protection today. No, he didn't. But bestowing magic damage to things nearby helps with all the physical resist that you come across. It's, yeah, Alariel's is great. And up in the air like that, it's very hard to hit her, so that's nice. Anyway, back here, though, this is the creme de la creme of the nonsense. Yeah, Dryads. I mean, you never see High Elves bring Dryads. Obviously, it's got to be Avelorn, but even then, it's very rare that people really use that hybrid sort of functionality, you know, the fact that she can bring some tree units. People really do that, so there's plenty of Dryads in the back. Obviously, they can Vanguard. They got magic damage, which is really useful against Skaven, you know, for all that physical resist nonsense. But his opponent didn't really bring any. Here, he's just got a load of clan rats. Here, he's got some storm vermin with halberds. He's actually got 3 storm vermin with halberds, which is a lot of halberds. Very, very scary. Anyway, he's got Tretch. You never see Tretch, so it's cool to see him too. And a Warlock Engineer, as the spellcaster, basically. Which, again, you don't often see that. I always see a Warlock Engineer, just for the Warpstone armor, and then people bring a Plague Priest. You know, that's just how people do it. So to see him as the actual spellcaster is kind of cool. So, yeah, I like this. It's interesting. It's all very interesting. But also, yeah, they vanguarded each other, which is pretty funny. So here you can see a load of Death Runners in the back. So there's 3 into Death Runners and 2 Gutter Runner Slingers. So all this stuff is stalked, obviously, in the back. So, pretty cool. I think he's expecting to walk forwards into a front line, but there was no front line. So suddenly all this stuff has got to basically catch up to the fight, because of course cavalry, they get into the fight pretty damn quickly. So, speeding things up. You can see that initial charge has done a ton of work. So, you know, the clan rats, just, yeah, 3 units, now 4. So 4 units of clan rats have all taken a fair bit of damage, and most of the Silverhelms are kind of fine, honestly. They're still in pretty damn good shape. So that was a nice initial shock, and of course all these guys are encroaching, so that's pretty funny. So all these guys are moving back, but of course the Death Runners will absolutely lay waste to Silverhelms. They will cut them to ribbons if they can get on top of them. Silverhelms will do a ton of damage on the charge, but yeah, if you don't see them coming. So here you can see they have been spotted, but are these guys going to react in time? And that's basically what this is going to come down to is, you know, can he keep these Silverhelms out of the way of the Death Runners and let his infantry deal with all this infantry? Because Dryads, they're not going to be great against Storm Vermin with their quite high armor. But, I mean, the anti-large and the armor piercing, it's kind of wasted. Well, armor piercing, not so much. I mean, 60 is still pretty good, right? But still. So you can see the clan rats are just no match for all the Dryads, frankly. Especially having been softened up a bit. But here we can see a Warp Lightning, which is kind of cool. Don't often see that. So yeah, beautiful. So good damage to the Dryads there. Here, beautiful breath attack on the Storm Vermin. Real big chunk of damage. Usually it's better if they're engaged, but if they're just going to stand there and take a breath attack, fine. Here you can see the Death Runners. They are just cleaving through these Silverhelms. These Silverhelms need to get out of there. Start charging into all this stuff, get those rear charges going, break the leadership, and let the Dryads just kill everything. So these guys need to move before they're all dead. It looks like they might end up all dead. Anyway, go for Tretch now with the dragon, which is always nice. Some of this stuff is getting terrified as well. Over here you can see these Silverhelms did actually charge into these Death Runners, while the other 2 have basically just busied themselves killing all the Gutter Runners, which is definitely worthwhile. So some Dryads in reserve now, as a lot of the clan rats have broken. But Tretch, he did get out of there pretty well. You know, he got out of there alright. He did get the Stalk and Unspottable traits there, so he's able to sneak away pretty well. And the front line is actually suffering. I mean, there's a lot of pretty powerful Skaven units here. The Warlock Engineer definitely helping sap the strength out of the Dryads. Because, of course, you know, their physical resist isn't going to help against the Warpstone armor, so it's pretty good. But here we're going to see a beautiful breath attack. So going from 27 to 68 kills. That's pretty good, and that looks like 2 units are about to break. So, unfortunately, so did the Silver Helms, and it looks like the Dryads might break too, but still, that's a ton of damage. Another Warp Lightning, lovely, and here you can see now Dryads are on the Death Runners, which is definitely better for the you know, Dryads than the Death Runners. Way more cost effective. Nice charge from the Silver Helms, but you can see there's still a ton of Death Runners here, and a lot of the Silver Helms got really, really punished by the Death Runners. Death Runners are great against anything armoured, frankly. They'll do wonderful, wonderful job. But anyway, so over here, Tretch is in a lot of trouble. He's had an Arcane Unforging on top of him, and yeah, there's a load of anti-large, but yeah, all the High Elves are just going to get healed through any of that potential damage, so Tretch is still in a lot of trouble, and the Eagle has enough mass to push through the Death Runners and get out of there. So here we are going to see some sneaky tactics here. Skitterleap, so he's going to be invisible, but unfortunately there are people right on top of him, so he's going to get spotted, which is a shame. Poor Tretch. He's doing everything he can, and look at him book it. So he's got 2 big speed buffs. He has 63 speed right now. He can really book it, but not as much as an Eagle with 110. But I mean, 63, I mean, that's almost as much as the Silver Helms, which is pretty funny for just a rat running around. It's pretty great. Anyway, so Dryads still in the thick of it. A lot of the sides have just been clipped. You know, stuff is broken. The Silver Helm's just there just to chase them off. I mean, that's the thing against Skaven. They always come back. That's always a problem. So if you don't have stuff to chase away all of the fleeing units, then they're going to come back and they haven't really lost much. So it's kind of tough, because you have to fight the same army multiple times, and you're weaker every time. I mean, so are they, but still, if you can just break something, you know, everything's got low leadership, you can just break it and chase it off. Brilliant. So, yeah, these Silverhelms doing a wonderful job doing that. I love it. So here, Halberds were trying to get on top of Silverhelms, but he's dodged out the way. Here, Tretch is being super bullied, 120 health. Honestly, I think, yeah, just keep these guys on Tretch. I mean, the dragon's on the ground. Just let the dragon finish him off. But, no, it peels him away. So I think that was pretty much the only mistake here, frankly. I think, yeah, just finish him off, because it's going to be a bigger hit to leadership if he's dead. But he's going to chase him off with a Lariel, and the dragon's going to get stuck in here, go for the Warlock Engineer, which frankly, yeah, the Warlock Engineer does not want to be fighting a dragon. It's not really his speed. And now, with rear charges coming in from everywhere, the terror from the dragon, Tretch having run away, that's army losses, guys. That is army losses. Any day now. There we go. Pyrrhic Victory. That's a fun one. I love seeing a load of, like, sort of cheaper cavalry. I think it's great. And frankly, Dryads, when was the last time you saw Avelorn bring Dryads? When's the last time you saw anyone play Avelorn, frankly? I mean, it's always a Lariel, but it's always just High Elves, right? So this is really cool. It's refreshing. I like this. It's actually using a sub-faction's tools. That's, you know, just for that sub-faction, which I think is great. You rarely see that, so it's wonderful to see in action. And frankly, you know, a whole army of Silverhelms and a dragon, I mean, what's not to love about this army? I think it's great. Having so much stuff that can outpace the Skaven is really useful, but also just having a horde of things turn up behind them is, well, that's great, isn't it? And of course, this army actually lent itself brilliantly to fighting Skaven because of that sort of Vanguard sandwich. Because frankly, if anything's vanguarding you, it's going to be very difficult for them to actually get on top of you. Because your front line is all cavalry. All of your infantry is slower moving, and at the side of the battlefield you don't expect. So, it's kind of weird, right? But, tactically interesting. So, definitely worth showing off. Right? So anyway, I mean, yeah, that's kind of it. I just think it was just textbook play here. Really unique stuff. And, yeah. Big props to Marco, though, for bringing, again, just off-meta stuff here. I mean, you never see Tretch, and you never use a Warlock Engineer being used as a spellcaster. So this was also an absolute joy to see. But unfortunately, it just got countered so heavily by this. This is not a thing you want to fight, you know, with this army, unfortunately. But, yeah, big props to the Death Runners as well, though, actually, because, yeah, they cleaved through these Silverhelms. That is dangerous. These guys are dangerous, so watch out for that. Yeah, heavy cavalry, Death Runners will mess up. So definitely something to take note of there. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.